Good morning, and thank you for being with us today. The show is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and it is a pleasure to have you join us today. I will take us through the headlines, and then after that, we will have our conversation. As we know, official petitions, or several actually petitions, were filed yesterday in court, and so we shall be looking at the details of that. We start with the Star newspaper, the main headline: How Chebukati, 56 hackers stole my votes. That is according to Raila. He says forms sent from polling stations intercepted and results were changed. That story is on page 4 and 5. IEBC commissioners unite to conduct postponed polls on August 29th. The story is on page 8. Man 71 wins MCA seat after 25 years of trying. When he entered competitive politics in 1997, Raymond Chululei did not know one day he would become a member of County Assembly. Some 25 years later, Chululei of UDA party trounced his youthful contenders to clinch Singor Soba MCA seat in Tinderet constituency in recently concluded general election. I think congratulations to this man, trying for 25 years and without giving up. Okay, that's really encouraging there for anybody out there who perhaps, is on the verge of giving up. You keep trying. You might as well just one day, succeed in whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay, doctors unable to reattach penis. Severed by honor, doctors were unable to reattach the penis of a man who chopped it off himself with a kitchen knife following a disagreement with his wife. Medics at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital say the organ, which was chopped off at the base, was presented late and was poorly preserved. Okay. That story is on page 9. State urged to suspend levies to lower oil prices. The story is on page 11. And then we move on to the Standard newspaper. Raila, my case against IEBC. Azimio leader wants the Supreme Court to scrutinize the results and declare him president-elect. Should not pass. He wants the court to order IEBC to preside over a fresh election. Raila also wants Chebukati declared incompetent and unfit to hold public office. The story is on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on the Standard. Wetangula basks in glory of messy divorce. The story is on page 12. Ex-Pakistan Prime Minister faces terror charge. The story is on page 36. Blow to help over interest on student loans. Judge directs lender not to charge more than 2 times of what was borrowed as interest and penalties. Ruling will see defaulters pay much less. The story is on page 13. Squirrel or cheetah, it matters in Benin. Football administrators opine that calling the national team Squirrels, a name they've used since the 1960s, is demeaning, and they are now the cheetahs. You know what? I agree. How do you call your whole national team Squirrels? Like, really? Of all these wonderful animals we have in this continent for inspiration, you choose a squirrel? Come on now. So I think cheetah is a good one. The Daily Nation, the main headline: was it stolen? I think in regards to the bombshell petition to the Supreme Court, Raila Odinga exposes what he says was a well-oiled scheme to rig this year's election, including the recruitment of hackers to infiltrate the results portal and alter forms, and the inflation of votes in favor of Ruto across the country, and especially in his strongholds. For these fraudulent schemes, the Azimio leader wants Ruto's win invalidated. The story is from page 2 all the way to page 9. Kenya Pipeline 636% rise in tariffs for faring fuel. That story is on the back page. Stakeholders outline roadmap to reviving the limping tourism sector. That story is on page 19, and I guess with the elections, we're just coming off the back of COVID-19 that affected tourism across the world. But our elections also usually during this period slows down tourism activities in the country. There has been a bit of positivity, but we are hoping that our tourism sector, which fetches us a good shiny penny, can come back to what it used to be. So I think once we're done with all these petitions and all that, and you're able to settle down to the new government, perhaps things might come back to the way they used to. So I think, that is what we have on the front pages. Let me just see if I can get other news from across the continent of Africa. We start with the Daily Monitor from Uganda. Travel chaos as crackdown starts. And IGG cancels city roads contracts over bribery claims. That is what we have. And the New Vision, police a toughen on traffic defaulters. That is the New Vision from Uganda as well. And the Citizen from Tanzania, how population census has evolved since 1967 exercise. And inside Odinga's 72-page petition challenging results, and minister asks PCCB to probe Jatu PLC over billions. That is what we have on the Citizen newspaper from Tanzania. The Daily News also from Tanzania, make it count. Here is Census Day. The Guardian from Nigeria, Adichie decries leadership deficit as candidates unveil 2023 agenda. I think the renowned writer from Nigeria, I think she has been trending over some things. I think she says she was speaking to the law society of law, body of Nigeria, and she had a couple of things to say, especially in regards to the runaway insecurity in Nigeria and the leadership deficit. And a lot of Nigerians were agreeing with her sentiments. And if you have been hearing or just paying attention to some news coming from Nigeria in the recent past 2 years, then you would understand why her sentiments resonated with a lot of Nigerians. The Nation also from Nigeria, Tinubu, Atiku Obi roll out plans on economy and security. That is what you have. The Daily News, this is from Zimbabwe. We have learned exactly nothing. Okay. Komichi says of divided opposition as 2023 looms. And then Newsday, PAM, Secretary dodges Parliament again. That is, I think, the permanent secretaries, MPs demand explanation of $10 billion budget blowout. Okay, that is in Zimbabwe. And the Daily Telegraph from the UK, refugee host cash should be doubled. Okay, and the Guardian from the UK, Truce cut millions from services that kept sewerage off UK beaches. All right, so that is what we have on the Guardian newspapers, the newspaper from the UK, and of course others from across the continent of Africa. You are now up to date. Very well. I'm joined this morning by Douglas Kirimi from Meru County. Douglas, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam, and also to our viewers across the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where they're watching us from.
All right. So did you hear about that shocking news I started with from the Star newspaper, that man that harmed himself because he had disagreed with his wife?
Pardon, Miriam?
I wonder if you heard that shocking news I read a while ago on the front page of the Star newspaper. The man in Eldoret who harmed himself because he had disagreed with his wife.
Yes, yes, Miriam, I've heard about it. But also, we need to also address the issue of depression among the populations, and also the very many problems that bedevil the people of Kenya. I think the president gave an executive order to be able to set up a national mental hospital or awareness center and all that, so that people can be treated there and all that. If you investigate today, it may not be a disagreement because everyone disagrees. We disagree every day with our relatives, with our partners, and even as a country we disagree. But nobody just wakes up in the morning and kills themselves because of a disagreement. For example, if that man walked across the road and he was hit by a truck or by a small passenger vehicle, he would not have died because of the accident. The vehicle would not have killed him. It is the stress from family. It's the disagreement from the family. It's the mental anguish from the family that would have killed the man. But even post-mortem would have shown that he was hit by a vehicle. It was an accident. But in real sense, it was mental issues that have been bedeviling him as a person and also as a man. I also urge every Kenyan and every person out there that as you also go about your business, remember to uphold your own mental health. Give it precedence because you are as good as your mental health. If you give in to the pressures of life, they are everywhere. The challenges of life, people do not have money. They do not have money to educate their children, take care of their wives. And these problems are everywhere. If our president is not in need of money to take care of his family, his country is in debt like in Sri Lanka. His country is in debt like some African countries. People are complaining because of prices of hunger. If you are not a president, you are a member of parliament who has squandered the CDF and DSCC is after you. The Anti-Corruption Commission is after you. And every other constituent is asking for development from you. If you are a young man and you are not married, issues to pay, to do with your rent, your bosses are very hard on you at work. And if you are working, there is also work politics. People are also besmirching you against each other, talking bad about you behind your back, backstabbing you, your boss and all that.
It's a lot of issue going around that would make anybody's mental state to be disrupted. But yes, I hear what you're saying, Douglas. But I'd like for us to move on to another matter before we get into politics. I feel like I really need a break, but we have to talk about it because we do have now that petition in the Supreme Court. But before we get into that, the High Court in Nairobi has dealt a blow to the Higher Education Loans Board following a declaration that is not entitled to recover an amount exceeding the principal advanced for a beneficiary. Justice Alfred Mabeya, in a judgment delivered last week, issued a declaration that Section 15, subsection 2 of the HELB Act is unconstitutional to the extent that it leads to interest rates and fines becoming more than the principal amount advanced. The judge made the ruling in a suit filed by Ann Mugure, Davis Ngodho, and Wankoi Washira against HELB. He said HELB, by imposing interest amounts and penalties or fines that exceed the principal amount, contravened the Constitution. The judge said Section 15, subsection 2 of the HELB Act is unconstitutional to the extent that it leads to interest rates and fines becoming more than the principal of the money. I think the Standard newspaper there has repeated itself. So this is part of the ruling. This is what it said. A declaration hereby issues that the respondent, who is HELB, is not entitled to recover from the petitioners or its loanees an amount exceeding double the amount advanced in contravention of the in duplum rule, that is the double rule, read the judgment. I think this will be a huge reprieve for a huge number of Kenyans who I know had to get their higher education through the HELB, the higher education's loans that they've been getting to take them through learning. But the penalties that HELB, I think, has imposed, I think in essence to encourage people to pay up, these loans, but also it's quite punitive. So this ruling by the court saying you can't, have people paying more than double the amount of money that you loaned them. And how will this aid as far as encouraging just more people to continue getting the education through HELB? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. The issue surrounding HELB and also the penalties that have also been imposed on the people of Kenya had taken a toll on young graduates, young people that are raising families and getting their children and also taking care of themselves. And remember, we also have the BRAC tax to pay back at home. Every end month we have to be bangled with a lot of issues, and also as we also juggle around everything, Miriam, we have those penalties to pay, and you continue being a slave of the government. Remember, students' loans are not a problem in the country alone. They are also a problem in the US and every other country in the world. But the issues surrounding the penalties and all that, and also being able to burden people, especially young people that would tarmac for so long looking for a job. And when you get that job, all your money would be slashed by the HELB, and also they will keep burdening you for years to come. But also based on the fact that now the ruling has also said that if you are taken 10,000 or 20,000, that's the money that you're going to pay. It's a reprieve to many people and many families that were being disintegrated by the help people. And many people would have chosen not to get a job that they would be paying help. They would have opted for businesses. And also remember the shaky environment of business world and all that. Still, people would also carry the yoke of help and also the penalties around their neck for so long. So it is a reprieve from the courts. I wish this ruling had come earlier for the people of Kenya and especially young people who had the burden of these penalties from their ends. And it takes also, I take pride in that ruling that nobody shall be burdened by more than what they have also been able to take from help, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Very well, now let's get into matters IEBC. The story is on page 11 on the Standard newspaper. The 4 dissenting Electoral Agency commissioners yesterday joined Chairman Wafula Chebukati during a meeting with the candidates of postponed elections at Bomas of Kenya in Nairobi. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC Vice Chairperson Juliana Cherera, Commissioners Justus Nyang'aya, Irene Masit and Francis Wanderi disowned the presidential election results, but it couldn't go unnoticed that the commissioners' eyes hardly crossed during the meeting, perhaps indicating the simmering tension. The commission settled on August 29th to conduct the Kakamega and Mombasa governor elections. IEBC will also conduct parliamentary elections in Kitui Rural, Kitui County, Kacheliba West, Pokot, and then Pokot South in West Pokot County and Rungai in Nakuru County, and ward elections in Nyaki West, North Imenti constituency, Meru County, and Koanjenga, Embakasi South constituency in Nairobi County. We had a brief caucus before we kick-started this meeting, and the commissioners are in agreement with this. The commissioners want this election done like yesterday, Mr. Chebukati said. The commission suspended the elections over the ballot papers after the ballot papers were found to have errors. The candidates who attended the meeting sought to know how the errors occurred and why the commission only noticed the same on election day. Ms. Cherera said the commission was not to blame since by the time they were getting to Greece, some of the ballot papers had already been printed and sealed, hence they couldn't verify. All right, so let's just start from there and then go back our way back there. So what is Cherera telling us here? Because Douglas Kirimi, as far as the Kenyan population knows and the Kenyan voters understand, IEBC was supposed to have a person there, I guess, throughout this printing process to ensure that things are done correctly. But what now the commission is telling us, and they were all together yesterday, so I didn't hear anybody dissenting on what Cherera was saying, is that by the time they were getting to Greece, some of the ballot papers had already been printed and sealed. Why were they printed and then sealed without the commissioners going through them and making sure that whatever has been printed and sealed is the right thing?
Thank you, Miriam. The incompetence from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in the Republic of Kenya is nauseating. Remember, this is a commission that is supposed to also hold a free, transparent, verifiable, and democratic election. This commission has made sure by our standards they continue doing sham elections in this country. I hope even after the sham general election, these repeat elections, elections that were postponed would be held without even a glitch or even telling us the many stories that they are telling us. The commission was supposed to be in places where these ballot papers were being packed, so that actually they do not even pack extra ballot papers and all that to make sure that everything is in order. The commission received the same ballot papers and stored the same ballot papers in their warehouses and distributed these ballot papers in the various IEBC warehouses and also offices across the constituencies, 290 constituencies of this republic. Did IBC tell us they just trusted the printer to just print everything, pack everything for them, receive everything at JKIA, and also with a lot of ceremony, send it to their warehouse, from their warehouse, distributed across the 290 constituencies and 47 counties of the Republic of Kenya, without verifying and without also determining that this is the correct number of ballot papers that is supposed to be allotted to Meru County, Nairobi County, Kakamega, and every other place in this country. What Cherera is telling us is that the commission led by Wafula Chebukati is an incompetent commission, is a commission that is hell-bent in making sure that the Republic of Kenya's elections are not verifiable, democratic, they cannot be free and fair. And remember, Miriam, the problem with that is also it exposes IBC to a lot of petitions. They are not technically prepared for any election, even in future, Miriam. I have said the IBC as it is constituted today, IBC requires about 2 years to prepare properly and more billions of dollars for them to be technically prepared for such elections, Miriam. And also the question that I asked myself is, why is Mr. Wafula Chebukati taking us for a ride? Why is the IBC and their commissioners taking us for a ride? These commissioners failed the people of Kenya. They have failed the court of public opinion, in my opinion, and also they have failed the integrity test. These elections are a sham, and this election needs to be cancelled, Miriam. You cannot hold elections where Mr. Wafula Chebukati and the REIT commissioners tell us that this election, we could not be able to verify that these ballot papers for Kirinyaga and Mombasa and other places have been interchanged, that Mombasa should be suspended, Nyaki West should be suspended. Who pays the cost for these people to continue campaigning with this kind of postponement from the IBC? This is incompetence, Miriam, and this is something that should not be tolerated in future. I believe that for this country to move forward, reforms at IBC should always be radical and radical surgery kind of reforms. And these reforms should not be committed to the same people that added the 2017 election. A commission should have a chairman to hold his term for a term of 5 years only, add one presidential election with integrity and go home. Instead of serving more than 2 elections like Wafula Chebukati has done now. Bango did the first election in 2017. Bango did the second repeat election. Now, this is the third presidential election that has been challenged at the Supreme Court with a lot of what Ms. Cherera called mathematical absurdities, and also with a lot of irregularities, and also with a lot of technical incapacity of IBC that has been demonstrated across board. And actually, it is also part of the petition in the Supreme Court that this IBC, this commission that is led by Mr. Wafula Chebukati, is not technically prepared for these elections. I don't believe Mr. Wafula Chebukati would have wanted to be politically correct and also mess up with an election that carries the dreams, expectations, and the ideals and hopes of the people of Kenya. I submit.
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much. Kiptanui Savanya, very good morning to you. I know you're joining us from Nakuru this morning.
A very good morning to you, Miriam. I'm sorry for that I suffered a lot of technical things. Thank you for having me. I'm actually joining you live from Nakuru City.
Okay, thank you. Nice to have you. So let me just catch you up with something that we're looking at. So yesterday, we know the IEBC commissioners came together to announce the date for the postponed polls, and I think they settled on the 29th. And during that meeting, Ms. Cherera said the commission was not to blame over the areas that it was not able to have its elections. So she said the commission was not to blame, since by the time they were getting to Greece, the IEBC commissioners were getting to Greece, some of the ballot papers had already been printed and sealed. Hence, they could not verify the same at the time. I don't know what other proof we need to just to show us how incompetent this commission is. I don't know. But also Mr. Chebukati defended the commission, saying they submitted the ballot proofs correctly and it was the mistake of the printer which they only came to realize when they unsealed the papers on election day. I know you can trust when you give somebody to do something. You can trust and believe that they're doing the right thing. But owing to the sensitivity and the nature that surrounds our elections or such an exercise, wouldn't have been prudent on their part, as much as they got there and they found that the ballot papers had been printed and sealed, they could have unsealed and just checked through and see, are these the right details and information contained in these ballot papers, and seal it back. What is the big deal about that? Well, would that been easier, other than postponing the elections? Which one could have been easier, unsealing and checking, or just assuming it is okay and then now look at the mess that we have to deal with today?
Thank you, Miriam. A very good morning once again. Miriam, it is unfortunate that Cherera and Chebukati are reading in different scripts. You see, Miriam, by the time, why is it that when they reached Greece, they didn't tell us that we were in Greece and we have not checked these ballot papers? There is a lot of scheme, Miriam, and I've come to believe that maybe even those ballot papers were not even printed in Greece, the way Dr. David had said last time. Miriam, there are a lot of problems, and very soon we'll be having people in IEBC who will be carrying cross, who will be taken to jail like Chebukati and these other commissioners. You see, you cannot. Why Mombasa? Why Mombasa and Kakamega? Why not? Somebody was asking this morning. Why not Nakuru? Why not other places? Now, does it mean that Miriam, if they couldn't, they were not in a position to check whether to open these ballot papers and check whether they have been printed? What is the work of proofreading before you print this? Who is going to meet the cost of wasting a lot of time, wasting a lot of resources to actually print the other ballot papers? So there is a problem here, Miriam, and I had said earlier that maybe Chebukati is a tackling issue in IEBC because maybe he has been tipped something. So there are a lot of things which are coming up. Kakamega and Mombasa and other parts and Rongai, they have a right to vote, but there is a problem around. And this problem surrounding this printing of these papers, ballot papers, and it was even very easy. It would be very easy for Chebukati Miriam at that time when we were still talking here the elections, rather than putting us on a serious fraud. You might be even taken to court for fraud. So there is a problem. There is a serious problem, and as my brother Douglas has said, Miriam, these things might not end here today because after 5 years, according to our constitution, we'll be having another election. So because we'll be having another election, can we still have these problems? So there are a lot of problems, and we must solve these problems, Miriam.
Okay. Like Douglas said, I really want us to move on to another matter. But even Chebukati coming in and saying that it is not their mistake, that they only realized the mistake after they unsealed the papers on election day. I think it was a day before the elections. I think before we went, I think it was on 8th that they realized that there was a mix-up on these papers. And he's saying this is the mistake of the printers. So in other words, we are not taking responsibility of what happened.
Miriam, thank you. They cannot be able to take the blame and place it on the doors of the printer. Remember, IBC told us that they are the people in Greece. They are the people, whenever these ballot papers were being printed, where they could verify and also make sure that the work is going on smoothly. And Chebukati would give us periodical updates, or the commission would give us periodical updates in terms of their preparedness and also in terms of the progress of printing of ballot papers, and they were also ferrying presidential agents to Greece and also making sure that they take care of them. They were the property and under custody of the commission. Remember, these IBC commissioners have people, or they can be able to employ people on casual basis or need basis and make sure that these ballot papers have been verified. When they were receiving the ballot papers at JKIA, what were they receiving? What were they receiving at the airport? When they were taking them to their warehouses, What were they storing many weeks before, maybe 2 weeks or 1 week before elections? What were they acknowledging to have received? If they received ballot papers for Kakamega County and they found the picture of Anne Waigoro in the mix-up of Fernandez Baraza and Creo Malala, in Mombasa County the same, and the Nyaki West and other places. Nyaki West is a different story because there is a person that was not included on the ballot that was supposed to have been brought to the ballot by a court order. But these other places where the IEBC has been able to postpone elections, especially the mix-up in Mombasa and the Kakamega. Why did IEBC allow such incompetence receive ballot papers that are not 100% for Kakamega and Mombasa, and then come council elections? Who is going to give Abdul Somad Salif Nashid money to continue campaigning? Who is going to give money to Creo Malala? Who is going to give money to Salai as a normal? Money to continue campaigning so that on 29 they will clinch that seat. Who is going to give money to Creo Malala in Kakamega County? This is incompetence of the highest order. And I also believe these people, whoever loses or whoever wins, they also gang up and go to court and seek compensation from IEBC. Because Miriam, the constitutional timeline was on 9th of August, that we shall be able to hold a general election. And since the IEBC, due to their incompetence and inept leadership made by Mr. Wafula Chebukati, did not commit themselves on that day, and they brought that kind of a mix-up. The man that was supposed to print the ballot papers, I believe he had insurance that was covering these ballot papers. Mr. Wafula Chebukati too has a responsibility, and the commission. They should be able to refund these people their money and give them some amount of compensation in terms of monetary compensation, because they cannot be able to repay their time that they have been able to waste, the resources that they have been able to waste. Mr. Chebukati should be taken to court together with the printer who had an insurance cover for the same, so that they can be able to reimburse money for these people who they have made to suffer. Imagine in 47 counties, 2 counties are the people who wasted their money and resources that Mr. Wafula Chebukati and the printer did not even bother to continue giving them. And now these people are being told on 29th of August, we're going to elections. What if I'm broke and I was supposed to have won that time? In Kenya and in Africa, money, in America, every other election in every country, and you cannot go to an election without being properly funded either by your party, by your family, or by yourself. Money is an integral part of an electoral process in any country and in any election anywhere in the world. These people should go to court and be able to compel Mr. Chebukati to pay them in terms of monetary value what they have been able to lose in campaigning, when Mr. Wafula Chebukati and the printer would have corrected the anomaly of 2 counties. What is 2 counties to that printer, Miriam? They would have corrected that anomaly 2 weeks before elections or 1 week to elections, Miriam. Mr. Wafula Chebukati has a case with Destiny together with their printer so that they can be able to reimburse the resources of these people. And also, the running away from responsibility is not the right thing for Mr. Wafula Chebukati to do. I believe, from my perspective, Mr. Wafula Chebukati is running away from responsibility because he is incompetent and is inept and he cannot fit to be the chairman of IEBC. The only thing that is keeping Mr. Wafula Chebukati there is his contract. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So let's just get into the petitions that were filed yesterday. I'm shocked. I thought maybe it was going to be 1 or 2 or 3 people, but about 7 petitions yesterday were filed at the Supreme Court. So let's just, let me start with the Standard newspaper headline. An Azimio leader wants the Supreme Court to scrutinize the results and declare him president. Should that not pass, he wants the court to order IEBC to preside over a fresh election. Raila also wants Chebukati declared incompetent and unfit to hold public office. The prayers to judges, the first one, scrutiny of rejected and spoiled votes, after which the totals be used to compute the final tallying of the presidential results. And then IEBC be ordered to tally and verify the count and declare Raila and Karua president-elect and deputy president-elect. As an alternative of declaring Raila president-elect, the court should find IEBC as constituted, incapable of presiding over and rendering a proper presidential election. The second is declare that Ruto was not validly elected, his declaration as president be nullified, and declare that IEBC, Chebukati and 2 other commissioners committed election irregularities. The third one, scrutiny and forensic audit of all equipment, system and technology used by IEBC in the presidential election, including KIEMS kits, servers and websites or portal. The fifth is the court to order the election was not conducted in accordance with the law and declare it null and void. The sixth is find that Ruto did not meet the constitutional requirement of 50% plus one. The seventh, prayer by the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, order IEBC to conduct a fresh presidential election in conformity with the law. And the eighth and last, prayer, declare Chebukati unfit to hold public office and that he has brought dishonor to the country and dignity to the office of the chair, IEBC. Now that is what we have on the front page of the Standard. Let me also look at how the Daily Nation has captured this, and we start, I'm just still looking on the front pages of these newspapers. William Ruto did not meet the constitutional threshold of more than half, that is 50 plus 1 of all the votes that were cast, based on what Raila's lawyers say is an analysis of voter turnout and total votes cast in DP's favor. And then the second is William Ruto was not validly declared as president-elect, and therefore Wafula Chebukati's declaration to that effect made on August 15th is invalid. And the third one, Chebukati's declaration of results should be nullified and IEBC directed to tally and verify the count and declare Raila Odinga and Martha Karua as president-elect and deputy president-elect respectively. And the fourth, in the alternative, order that the IEBC as presently constituted is incapable of presiding over a credible presidential election. That means should there be a rerun, the current commission would not oversee it. And then the fifth, the decision by IEBC commissioners Juliana Cherera, Justice Nyang'aya, Francis Wanderi, and Irene Masit rejecting the declaration of Wafula Chebukati is consistent with the Constitution and should be upheld. And then the last point that the Daily Nation has captured in that prayer by Azimio la Umoja is all votes affected by irregularities are invalid and should be struck off, and the genuine results should be tallied and verified as the valid outcome of the election. So perhaps one of the key things that stood out for me there, and we will discuss some of these points as we look at this matter, in the alternative, order that the IEBC as presently constituted is incapable of presiding over a credible presidential election. That means should there be a rerun, the current constitution would not oversee it. So in your understanding, Captain Yusufania, how do you see this working? Should this prayer be granted?
Miriam, it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I've also have a look at the affidavit of Itongo and some other information on social media. And Miriam, I'm so worried about what is happening. The first thing, Miriam, is that even the returning officers for some parts of the country are missing. You are missing, immediately you are found dead. I don't know if this spirit of killing is coming from where. There is one thing we need to learn from them ourselves. Even Miriam, you might not even enjoy that money because I think even they have not been paid. You are being used to do wrong things, Miriam. And then all of a sudden you are dead. Miriam, from my perspective, I can see a win for Azimio, and I can see these prayers being granted, Miriam, based on evidence. These people might be having concrete evidence rather than yesterday we didn't even have any information, Miriam. Miriam, if it is true that this gentleman who actually was used to hack, was used to edit this from 34As, who actually met with Kitongo and Kitongo, sworn an affidavit, Miriam. And you see, Miriam, you remember, I think in Kibaki's government, or which government, that Kitongo actually was running away, he was also a whistleblower. Miriam, there are so many things that we are going to learn at the course of these petitions. What happened actually? It seems I saw even in social media right now that discrepancies between the four people are related in Baringo. The valid vote is almost at 7,000. But you see, William Ruto got 36,000. Unfortunate, Miriam, there are a lot of things which are happening. Even these people who are editing these things, they didn't even edit it in a manner that they conceal the thievery on this thing, Miriam. And there is when you see what of the coalition are praying for, it has been filed, Miriam, and these things will be shown to the world. What person who is Chebukati has been actually amazing. Ballot papers were very ill. She's sincere, surely, or she has been cornered. If I was the Miriam, we could have called a press conference and say, we are not, all of us are not siding with our chairperson. He is running the show alone. We are not going to participate on this election, on these elections. But now they are coming out. Now that the elections have been to be state witnesses, I think they are also sincere, Miriam. And we've said since the time immemorial that even Chebukati himself, Miriam, one time confessed that he's not even ready for these elections. He has no capacity towards the win to Uhuru Kenyatta and celebrated. We didn't have even my time, Miriam, to check on balances and checking on IEBC. But what are we doing? We are crying. We are losing at the country. Miriam, there are only two scenarios. If these elections will be nullified, it seems even the whole elections will the people who have been elected, Miriam, were not even elected. It was a computer generated. So there are a lot of problems, and we are going to learn so many things as we move on. Thank you.
All right, and I need to correct what I said earlier. It is not 7 petitions, but it is 9 petitioners who submitted their complaints yesterday to be considered in this case, in this petition. A couple of issues here that are just going through some of these things that have been highlighted, Douglas. And one of them, the prayers, that's one of them from the Azimio One Kenya Alliance coalition. They're saying in the alternative that Raila Odinga is not declared after the verification of the votes, of course, is not declared the winner. In the alternative, that the court decides that we should go for a rerun or another election, that this commission cannot oversee the election as it's presently constituted, is incapable of presiding over a credible presidential election. And I think we've said this, and we keep saying, and we keep repeating, and I don't know how we even got ourselves here, Douglas, and we've been saying this. By the court nullifying the 2017 elections, that was an indictment on the part of Chebukati as the chair of that commission and the commissioners, that they were not fit to hold another election. But for some reason, we just, as a country, allowed Chebukati to hold another election. So Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance is saying, okay, should the court decide that the country has to go for another election or a rerun, then IEBC, as it is currently constituted, they are incompetent and they cannot oversee another election. So what does that mean now? Because the process of getting new commissioners is not that easy.
Thank you, Miriam. I've said it before, and we are going to repeat this for the umpteenth time, and in over 2 years now, that the way IEBC it is today, the way it is constituted today, cannot hold a credible, free, transparent, democratic, and verifiable election. Free, transparent, democratic, verifiable, and credible election cannot be held by Mr. Wafula Chebukati. This is a man that is in court with the Kenya Kwanza. This is a man who is not patriotic. This is a man that does not follow the rule of law. This is a man who stood in front of a television in a press briefing and said that we are technically incapable of holding an election in this country. And if the court has to ask for an election in 60 days or 30 days, Miriam, I believe from my perspective, we need a caretaker government. We need a caretaker government that the President of the Republic of Kenya will have limited powers, so that at least we can take about 6 months or 1 year to properly constitute IBC. We need more orders from the court so that this IBC cannot continue subverting the will of the people. If they have stolen this election, Miriam, if they have been able to subvert the will of the people from the polling station level, from the lowest ward to the highest echelons of this election, that is the governors and the senators and the presidential vote, Miriam, what stops Mr. Chebukati to regroup again with William Ruto and the court and steal this election in broad daylight in the next 60 days, Miriam? There is no constitutional limit to what Chebukati can do. Chebukati is a man that is hiding by that commission, and unless he is stopped, Miriam, this man is still going to preside over sham repeat election, and Azimio la Umoja is going to cry more louder and shout more and shout more and more, and it won't make sense in the end or at the end of the day. What we need to do today is seize the moment, suspend IBC as it is today through a court order, and make sure that this IBC is properly constituted, even as we prosecute Chebukati and co. Even Cherera is not exonerated 100%. She may have disagreed with the results from IBC, but she has been part of the road at IBC. She has been part and parcel of what is happening at IBC today. If I were Raila Odinga, if I were Maure, if I were Professor George Wajakoya, I wouldn't have participated in such issues, Miriam, as presented to that court that this election should go to Aridan and Chebukati would still be chairman and the commissioners would be there. I wouldn't participate in that. The next course of action, Miriam, that I think is the best for Azimio la Umoja is to keep pushing the courts to have Chebukati kicked out. We've said over 2 years ago that please kick out Chebukati. We were only voices in desert. We were voices in the wilderness, speaking and saying that time has come for us to choose between our country, between our peace, between businesses, between the progress and transformation of our country, or choose to give this country to dogs by handing over Chebukati another election to turn it into a sham and also a money minting machine that he can continue siphoning public funds and also receiving further envelopes from politicians, especially from Kenya Kwanza, so that they can be able to make sure that there's an affidavit in court. A man is saying that as a returning officer, they made sure that governors, UDA governors, win with a huge margin, and they were stuffing ballot papers for them so that they can win and so that UDA can have majority of governors at the Council of Governors. What country is that? How did we find ourselves here? How did we find ourselves here today after 2 years of agitating that IBC should be properly constituted and Mr. Wafula Chebukati should be kicked out and be prosecuted? We've been raising an alarm for over 2 years. But what we are getting today from the commission is that even if you go to Ariran, we shall still be here and still another election, cause another sham election. What the affidavits that people have taken to court and also the petitions and the prayers that have been taken to court, I believe from my perspective, if this election is overturned, Miriam, IBC as it is constituted today is technically incapable of holding an election in this country free, transparent, democratic, verifiable, and also to make sure it is fair. They cannot be fair, Miriam, when they have been stuffing ballot boxes in favor of governors, senators, presidential candidates that belong to Kenya Kwanza. For us to move on as a country, we need our peace, we need our country, the transformation, the infrastructural projects that we've been able to find ourselves in under the dispensation of President Uhuru Kenyatta. We need a special government. We need a caretaker government so that we can correct this mess at IBC.
Okay.
Chebukati is not inferiable. Chebukati is not a demigod. Chebukati is not a higher deity than ourselves. We are all humans. If he's picking money in gunny bags, he is a corrupt man, he's a greedy man. And these people who have been receiving money, returning officers across the country, there are various issues and cases of people receiving money to infiltrate numbers, the system, and also staff ballot boxes and make sure that you win. But for us to be able to get together, to go together as a country and decide on the way that we shall go, is that another repeat election, if the courts find that Chebukati is liable for the mistakes of this election and also the commission, IBC as it is today cannot audit the next election, and that is my position and the position of so many people who love this country, Miriam. How can Chebukati stand again in front of the people of Kenya and tell them, despite intimidations and all that, this is the rerun, these are the results again, I have also declared the man, but I declared the president again, and there's nothing you can do. This is a dictator, Miriam. I feel sad for millions of Kenyans who would wake up to vote and then their will be subverted by one man, Mr. Wafula Chebukati. For us to be able to move on from this man, we need to have a properly constituted IBC to stand in and also make sure, or a caretaker commission. We can have a caretaker commission to stand in for elections so that we can have democratic, free, verifiable, and also credible elections in this country. Miriam, I submit.
Okay. So this year's petition will be a bit different because all 7 commissioners and Mr. Chebukati have been listed as respondents alongside Dr. Ruto. So every one of them will have a chance to give their position on these matters, and the listing as respondents could spark a fresh battle as they could submit conflicting positions in court. So brace yourselves up. Throughout his tenure as the chairperson of the IEBC, Mr. Chebukati has had acrimonious public disagreements with critical members of the commission, including Commissioners Roslina Kombe, who resigned in 2017 in the middle of an election, Commissioners Connie Maina, Margaret Mwanchaya, and Paul Krugat, who resigned in 2018. Ezra Chiloba, the CEO, Secretary now Juliana Cherera, Justice Nyang'aya, Francis Wanderi, and Irene Masit. The petition states the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, has also been dragged into the dispute as Mr. Odinga and Ms. Karua want evidence gathered in the arrest of the 4 individuals over the past month presented in court. Detectives arrested 3 Venezuelans, Salvador Javier, Sosa Suarez, Jose Gregorio, and that other name, and Jose Gustavo on July 21st, 2022. The DCI said it found the 3 with sensitive IEBC material. So remember, this case is still, the DCI bado walikuwa na investigate this matter. I don't know if they were done. The case is closed, but I don't know what kind of evidence they have. But now Azimio One Kenya Alliance is asking that DCI also be part of this to provide evidence of whatever it is they might have gotten from these 3 Venezuelans from their laptops that the DCI confiscated, had remote access to IEBC systems. That is what Azimio is alleging. But let's go back to the first sentence that I read there. All 7 commissioners will testify in this case. So there is a possibility, from what we've seen play out in public, that they will give conflicting, positions in court as far as these elections is concerned. How do you see this playing out, Kiptanui? Kiptanui, can you hear me?
I hear you, Miriam. Maybe you can repeat the question.
Okay. All right. So in this petition, all these 7 commissioners and Mr. Chebukati have been listed as respondents, and so each one will have a chance to give their testimony on what exactly occurred because of the dispute, and there is a chance that they will all, perhaps, I don't know, majority, I don't know, but there will be some conflicting positions in the court because every one of them has to appear and give an account. So how do you see this playing out? And I don't know if Chebukati should be worried.
Yes, Miriam, Chebukati should be worried because as I illustrated yesterday, Miriam, you see, these commissioners, they must be having something. You see, the first thing, they are now coming out saying we were not even informed. We were not even aware that these ballot papers were coming around. The same commissioners, Miriam, you remember when Chebukati was announcing the results in 4 months, they were in Serena. And I don't want to preempt what they have been actually doing since then. And they are prepared. And these commissioners will bring down Chebukati. Miriam, not only that we are going for maybe to repeat these elections, or we are going to to streamline this IEBC, but Chebukati might be going to change. One person will go to court and request even for nullification of the whole process of these elections, Miriam. Not only the presidential. I don't know what I'm seeing is my own illusion or it's my own opinion. Miriam, if there is no credibility on these elections from the word go, it might, someone will look and go to court, and I'm told even the presidential aspirant, Kagame, is already in court. He's actually praying that these elections will be abolished. It will be a showdown between Chebukati and his commissioners and these people who have petitioned Miriam. Miriam, remember, they're saying there are some constituencies by the time Chebukati was announcing were not even, the results were not even around. And the people, the returning officers, Miriam, they have different results with what it was announced there at 4 months. So, Chebukati, you are going down. Let us tell this only man the truth. And I like what my brother Douglas says, that the only thing that is good with Chebukati is that kipara. But I don't want to go to that direction, Miriam. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of problems and Chebukati is going down. Mm-hmm. We must be worried, and we need to protect these commissioners, Miriam. You see, returning officers are disappearing and they are dying. We need to give these people security, because at the end of the day, they will actually testify against Chebukati. If Chebukati is still alone, he will be actually in a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm. And from this from the case, by the Azimio, they're citing even the previous disagreements that have happened in the commission, and throughout his tenure, I'm just quoting what the Azimio people said. The chairperson of IEBC, Mr. Chebukati, has had acrimonious public disagreements with critical members of the commission, and say they included Commissioner Roselyn Akombe, who resigned in 2017 in the middle of an election, Commissioners Connie Maina, Margaret Mwachanya, and Paul Kurgat, who resigned in 2018, then Ezra Chiloba, the CEO, and now Juliana Cherera, and these other commissioners. So they're citing Chebukati as a common factor here. So I think looking at this allegation, they're saying, Chebukati must be then the problem as the head of this commission.
Very true. It is true, Miriam. We saw the other commissioners resigning. And Miriam, if somebody was giving me an illustration or an example, that today, today I got married to Chemutai. Chemutai, we stay with Chemutai. We have one kid. After 1 year, Chemutai goes to Kamau. One kid. After that, marriage for marriage. So Miriam, somebody was asking me, is Chemutai the problem, or all these husbands who have married Chemutai and having one kid, and Chemutai divorces, marrying. So the problem must be this Chemutai, and that is Chebukati. The problem must be within Chebukati himself, because the other commissioners resign.
Maybe Chemutai is just unlucky. She just bumps into men who are never meant to be. I don't know.
No, you cannot be unlucky, Miriam. 7 marriages. You can. one of these 7 men can be okay. Maybe the problem is with Chemutai, but I think the problem lies with Chebukati. Chebukati is a dictator and he cannot run elections. Miriam, he is messing this country. Miriam, if we could have gone to post-election violence like 2007, 2008, Chebukati can afford to light and leave this country and leave us alone killing each other. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, Douglas, will this hold any positions in court? Is this a case? Judging by past things that have happened, then the conclusion is Chebukati must be the problem here.
Thank you, Miriam. I believe that the people disagree in places of work, and I also wouldn't pretend that in such a critical institution like the IEBC, there will be simmering tensions and there will also be disagreements. But also, I'm calling on Chebukati. You cannot be disagreeing with the people every day. Chebukati is a character that you cannot work with unless he has his own way. And also, they should choose to disagree to agree, because the commission is a critical institution that is looked at very, 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 very well by the people of Kenya. We look up to Chebukati to deliver free, transparent, credible, and also democratic elections. These elections that have been conducted in 2017, 2017B, and 2022A, that actually is headed to 2022B. have not been transparent, credible, fair, and also democratic and also verifiable. The commissioners cannot be able to verify these results. Azimio la Umoja agents can't be able to verify these results. Even UDA cannot be able to verify these results because actually it is in their favor. They do not want to bother. But also themselves have had conversations with the top Kenya Kwanza onchos. They have said that these results cannot be verified. If a commission led by our chairman cannot be able to lead us to an election that is verifiable, democratic, free and fair, and also to make sure that this election is democratic, it is the dictatorship of the highest order for us to be able to be led by one man who disagrees with even his colleagues. Connie Maina, Mwachanya, and Rosalina Kombe, I thought they were the problem. But in 2022, after 5 years, I find same people, I find same man, different people, different issues. Cherera, the vice chairman, has also declared Chebukati persona non grata in a life in terms of decisions at the commission and all that. Our facial expressions and their behavior yesterday and their everything showed that these are people that cannot agree anymore. She's there because she's in an independent constitutional body or institution. One thing that Mr. Wafula Chebukati should understand, this election is not vested on him to determine to the people of Kenya whoever becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya. His is a responsibility to uphold the will of the people, read the will of the people to the people, and also sign that certificate to make it valid as a chairman of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Also, make sure that as the national tallying officer or the national returning officer for the presidential elections, he does his constitutional duty. We are not begging Mr. Chebukati to do the right thing. He is supposed and he is bound by the constitution to do the right thing. The right thing, even according to the Elections Act, is that he shall declare the person that shall be voted by 50+1 by the people of Kenya without subverting the will of the people, that he shall sign the certificate and hand it over. And that's where the job of Mr. Wafula Chebukati, as far as the president-elect is concerned, or governor-elect, as it pertains the county returning officer, if it pertains the MP and the MCAs, as it pertains the constituency returning officer. Anything else from Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the outburst, the disagreements, and those are innuendos and sideshows, so that we can be distracted from the big picture. As the national tallying officer, or the national presiding officer, or the national returning officer of the presidential election, he shall not subvert the will of the people. He shall not be able to divert the will of the people to another person's gain. He shall not interfere with the work of the commission. He shall be able to tally the results of the president as they have been tallied from different parts of the country, and also take the results and declare the president of the Republic of Kenya. Read it to the people of Kenya. Their voices should be amplified by the voice of Mr. Chebukati. But what we saw the other day is Mr. Wafula Chebukati subverting the will of the people of Kenya. Mr. Wafula Chebukati allowed the IEBC servers to be infiltrated, to be swapped, to be invaded by people or actors from the other side, according to the Azimio la Umoja councils. We need to also understand that for Chebukati to come to the fore and tell us he has been intimidated, he is a democratic man, he's a good man, and all that, the jury is out there. Court of public opinion is supposed to exonerate Mr. Wafula Chebukati. You cannot tell yourself you've done a good job when we, the people of the Republic of Kenya, who are the resultant factors in that election, or who are the beneficiaries in that election. Because if we vote for a president, we benefit from roads. We benefit for Mr. Chebukati, his welfare is taken by the commission. We need to be able to understand that as a country, we are not happy with what we are hearing in courts today. If the courts upholds what Azimio la Umoja and other petitions, over 9 petitions, are saying, Mr. Chebukati, please, don't bother the people of Kenya. You belong to the jail, and also any other commission in the future. Please run from Wafula Chebukati, run from Isaac Hassan, and run from Samuel Kivoito and others. The IEBC responsibility is not to subvert the will of the people, Miriam, and also not to stop what the people have decided. Yours is also to release the results to the people as it were from polling station level. You cannot subvert the will of the people, then come painting yourself as a saint and also a democratic man who sticks to the rule of law and all that. As a country, we need to be saved from Mr. Wafula Chebukati. The court should protect us, the people of Kenya, from Mr. Chebukati, because Chebukati has messed up with the democracy of this country. It's messed with the hopes and aspirations and the ideals that people, ordinary people of this country, stand for. Over 50 million people, their fate hangs with one man. The constitution should protect us from him and stop him from running any election, including the rerun in this country.
Okay, thank you so much. Kivuito is resting. I hope he's resting in peace. Now, let's get back to Chebukati's mathematics. And last week, Mr. Chebukati announced, amid chaos at the National Tallying Center inside Bomas of Kenya, that Dr. Ruto garnered 7.1 million votes, accounting for 50.49% of the total votes, against Mr. Odinga, who garnered 6.9 million, accounting for 48.85%. In the certificate handed to Dr. Ruto on August 15th, Mr. Chebukati stated that the results were based on 14,213,137. Those are the valid votes from all over the country. Okay? But the petitioners now argue that adding up the number of voters from all constituencies listed in the certificates leaves Mr. Chebukati's final tally short by 110. So even in that, still there were problems now. With that addition, they add that in total, the IEBC has not accounted for more than 140,000 voters who were captured using identification kits at their polling stations, but whose choice for presidency is not reflected in Form 34C, the final result transmission form, including individuals who were identified using the printed voter register. The Azimio team holds that more than 250,000 votes have not been accounted for in Chebukati's final tally. So the people who were identified using other alternatives like the physical register, like for those whose photos were taken and their IDs, they were not included in the final count. But already Chebukati told us that the number of Kenyans who came out to vote stood at 14,213,000. But when you look at, and those are the numbers which were identified by the biometrics, and that is the total number of votes that were cast, and in this regard that were valid for this day. But what happened to those who were identified using physical, register? They were not captured in the final tally. So they were asking, the Azimio team is asking whether over 250,000 votes went. And to back their arguments, Mr. Odinga and Ms. Karua say that IEBC chairperson declared a winner when results from 27 constituencies were yet to be received at Bomas of Kenya, and which would have either secured an Azimio win or left Dr. Ruto short of the required 50% plus one vote. We're back to the maths of Chebukati Giptanui.
Miriam, I'm not good in mathematics also, but Miriam, by the look of things, these things are not actually adding up. Mm-hmm. It's not adding up. And if it is true that there are some constituencies which were not captured by the time Chebukati was actually announcing these results, it is, on my opinion, that Chebukati must have been given something so that he announces the winner. And Miriam is not even going to this mathematics. If you see the way Chebukati actually handed over certificate of 2017 was not the same thing he did in this 2022, Miriam, because he handed over to Uhuru Kenyatta and he also handed over to William Ruto. And there was somewhere, they didn't come and sit down, Miriam, when they thought that they'd been announced and they stood up from the way William Ruto was sitting arrangement, Miriam. This is a man, Miriam, who is being chased by his shadow. What was the hurry for? If actually these constituencies were not actually being captured, and where was this Chebukati for the last 2 hours? He disappeared and he left this commissioner. So there are so many things that we need to question, apart from these mathematics which are not adding up. And Miriam, from what I saw in social media, some people have added up this mathematics. It even scares me that nobody even reached 50. 50 plus 1%. And this one, Miriam, you remember Chebukati coming out and saying the 4 commissioners who disagreed with my announcement of William Ruto as the president, they wanted us to go for runoff. Miriam, I think these commissioners might be having something which is true, because at the end of the day, you see, if they cannot even account for these constituencies, it seems even nobody reach even 50 plus 1. And because Chebukati was even, I suspect it might have been gone. Maybe he was actually siding with one coalition. Why hurry? Why hurry? If these people have not met the constitutional threshold of 50 plus 1, you don't announce them. You say now you've not met this. What is constitution says is that you go for runoff. And he could have saved even his image and the image of the Republic of Kenya. But he was alone, and I don't think whether Chebukati he will run away with what he has actually brought this country. So a lot of...
Okay, so as we conclude, another issue that is contained in the petition, Douglas, the second respondent, who is Mr. Chebukati, was continuously, this is an accusation by the Azimio inside the Azimio petition, was continuously deleting and uploading different result declaration forms, that is forms 34A and 34B and 34C, even after the declaration of the final outcome on August 15th. So they continued to update, according to Azimio, delete and put, I guess, other forms, even after the final outcome. And I don't know if they have proof of this, but I guess they had already downloaded the other forms, so that they're able to just counter check against that. But this is an accusation that has been leveled, Douglas, as we conclude.
Thank you, Miriam. I have all reasons to accuse Chebukati of the things that I keep accusing him of. Because, for example, a case in Mombasa, from 34 it says Ruto and 98,639, but from 34C numbers were inflated to 113,700. Also, the very funny thing about this one is that the bigger tally shows that Ruto had that 635 votes against 630. When Mr. Wafula Chebukati reads different results to announce the winner, what was the results that were used to announce the winner were not the results that were uploaded, or the results that are supposed to have been delivered. Miriam, by all means and by all intent and purposes, we need to suspend this election so that we can be able to teach the world how elections are done. This election should be able to teach the people of Kenya to carry on electoral justice into their future, and also other countries, Miriam, because we cannot continue asking the people of Kenya remain calm as if we are fighting, and also please support peace as if we're in war, as if we are burning houses and all that. Electoral justice in this country should be something that we carry on from this election, Miriam, because people or criminals masquerading as leaders in this country cannot be in court with the independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, so that now Chebukati can read the results as if those results are alpha and omega. If a question is taken to the Supreme Court or any court, you are seeking a remedy. You are seeking an answer to a problem that you think that is a problem. For example, in these petitions that have been taken to court, not that Raila and the core and people that have taken petitions to court do not have peace, Miriam. They are peace-loving Kenyans, and also there are people who want to find out how Mr. Chebukati will also give a form 34A that says that Ruto had 98,000 in Mombasa, whereas from 34C, numbers were taken to 113. That's the question that we want the court to address, because Mr. Chebukati has read his own version of results, which are alpha and omega. They can't be altered according to Chebukati and William Ruto, that is supposed to be sworn in and to become the president, the 50th president of the Republic of Kenya. Miriam, it is such anomalies that the people go to court. It is such anomalies that we want these errors in the commission taken care of. And that's why I'm saying reforms at the commission should be a continuous process, and nobody should have a term of office in terms of their contract of 5 years and on. So people should be suspended at will. If you are found to be incompetent like Chebukati and others, you cannot be given a term of 5 years or for 3 years so that you can continue presiding over issues and an election that touches on the very lives of the people of Kenya, and then you have a leader like Chebukati. Miriam, I think we need to have reforms at IEBC such that you know that you can lose your job any other time when you mess up with the will of the people. What I'm asking, Miriam, as I conclude on my point, is the will of the people should not be subverted. No matter who is the president, no matter who becomes president, we need clear results. We know many people did not come out of 22,000 people, 22 million people have registered to vote, but 14 million came out to vote. But the will of 14 million people, and also for those that did not express it at the ballot, should be respected. They chose to stay at home, respect that. 14 million people voted, respect that, and declare who is the winner. If there is no winner, go for a leader. What is wrong with that, Miriam?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And that marks the end of our show this morning. Don't go too far. We shall be back with another show. Very good morning to you.